Hello, guys. Welcome back to SWS Boxing. Delighted to be joined with Ian Gaughran. He's a boxing promoter, well, manager sort of thing. And yeah, how are you, mate? Pleasure getting you on, Ian.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, pretty good. Very excited now because Graham McCormick is obviously fighting on the big Taylor Catterall undercard next week on the zone. So it's a big opportunity for him and one we're really looking forward to.
Before we talk about that fight, talk about of course, David Ryan got the win over Tony for was it for the BUI Celtic title that one?
Yeah, BUI Celtic Super Lightweight title. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a brilliant fight on what was a brilliant night. Um, Obviously, there was a little bit of controversy at the end of the fight with the scoring being read the wrong way around and scored the wrong way around. But in the end, David got the win and is Celtic champion, and it's nothing more than he deserves. You know, he works really hard. He had a long time out. He had about 8 months out, I think. He had a bit of a hand injury. He actually fought through 2 fights with that hand injury, but it just got too bad, and it needed a period of rest. So he got his rest in. He came back and had 6 rounds with Jake Smith up in Belfast on a Mark Dunlop show, and that set him up to fight Tony McGlynn then for the BUI Celtic. So yeah, it was a really good performance. Tony came out like a steam train in round 1 and 2, and things got a little bit hairy in round 2 when Tony dropped Dave, but he got back up and started to come forward late on in the second round, and from then on he started to just to gradually increase the pressure on Tony, and I think it was really probably his heart and his fitness that were the game changers, but also he boxed really well, and that's something that he said he was the whole time. Everybody had him down as a kickboxer, and it was something that was a bit, it was a bit something that miffed him a little bit. But he showed that he can hang in there with really natural, talented boxers and beat them. So yeah, we're looking forward to now probably pushing for the Irish title with David, and we'll see where we go from here. You got a bit of a bad cut, so he's going to take a little bit of time off, but there's going to be plenty of options and plenty of time for him.
Yeah, it was a great performance, but it was yeah, as you said, it was a weird one when they announced it because the announcer announced Tony as the winner, but David's hand got raised by the ref, so it
Yeah.
was a bit of a strange one. How did you guys feel in that sort of
Well,
moment?
yeah, those instant few minutes, everything was a little bit all over the place, and there was emotions were high and tensions were a bit high, but it was soon was realised what had gone on,
So
and
you were devastated, and then about 10 minutes later, you were over the moon. So
yeah, and that's it. And on the other side of the coin, Tony is obviously over the moon, and then he has the belt up back up in his dressing room, and his manager and promoter Jay Byrne had to go up and take it off him and bring it back down. And full credit to Jay for doing that, because that I'm sure that was one of the hardest things he'll ever have to do in boxing, is to go up and tell a fella, you know, you actually didn't win. They scored it wrong, and physically have to take a belt back to give it off. So that shows the class of the man, and you know it was really appreciative of how he handled it at the time, and how they got the right result, read out, and all that kind of stuff.
hmm who's the current
So yeah,
Irish champion?
it's vacant. So Senan Kelly had won the BOI Celtic. He had beaten Jake Tinklin um, on one of Jay Byrne's previous shows,
Because
and
that's
he
when
had beaten.
Graham fought Gratty.
Yes, it is. Yeah. So Senan was really good that night. Put in an excellent performance, dominated the fight, and won it well. So you would probably say now that the two boys, Senan and Dave, is the call now. Going forward, give the two lads a shot at the Irish title, and give the two lads a shot at another big night. So, and that's a great fight. Two different styles. Senan he's compact and he's a powerhouse, and he comes forward a lot. And Dave likes to come forward as well, but he's kind of a bit more languid, and he kind of throws from a little bit different kind of places. He has his hands down, so it's a good clash of styles. But like, if it's back in the warehouse or if it's on an even bigger platform, I know Jay has plans to expand and move into kind of bigger spaces. But if it's in the warehouse, like you saw, like the atmosphere in there, it's like a cauldron between the balcony and everybody around. So I'm sure it'll be another excellent atmosphere if the two boys can go again.
It's sort of like Ireland's York Hall.
It is now, yeah. And in fairness, every show that he's put on
Oh, I've lost you for a minute, Ian. You still there?
Yeah, hold on.
It's just I can't see you at the moment. Yeah, I can see you now. Hang on. Yeah, so we were saying it's like islands your call sort of thing. Oh, I don't know. The sound's gone. The sound's gone. Can you hear me now? Still can't hear you. Um, join and I'll edit it together. Yeah. So leave and then join back.
You were talking about
So we lost a bit of sort of connection, but yes, we're back now. And yeah, what we was saying was it's sort of like islands your call, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. It's like a cauldron. It's got the ringside seats, and it's got the kind of the huge big screen in behind, and it all opens up almost in a kind of C shape for the downstairs seating. But up above, it's got the balcony that all of the standing tickets are able to look down on, and the noise it generates from up and down really creates a brilliant atmosphere. So, yeah, it's kind of it's becoming now certainly Dublin's go-to small hall place, and it's nearly the unofficial home of JB Promotions at the moment. So, as I said, all of his shows have been getting better and better as they go, and that one definitely last day was his best one yet. So like, he's had 4 quick shows, and all of them seem to be going well. So long may it continue. He's doing a great job.
Mm. Yeah, next up we'll speak about, of course, Graham G Train McCormack, as you've got his sort of yeah, top on. Yeah, Graham, of course, he's got the big fight on the match on the Josh Taylor Jack Catterall rematch card, and he's boxing George Liddard, who trains
Mm.
out of the Tony Sims gym over 8 rounds. So yeah, big opportunity for Graham. Of course, he's had. I can imagine you're going to speak about it in a minute, but yeah, he's had a few cancellations with the Gethin fight, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So obviously the Getting fight was supposed to happen a few times. We first started talking about that fight in I think July last year, maybe, and it was going to be September, then it was going to be November, then it was going to be I think it was April and May, and it just there's probably no need to go into the ins and outs as to why it didn't go through this time, but unfortunately, it didn't go through, and it was very late in fight week, but not there's no blame on Kieran, um, so there was the potential for this George Liddard fight, and I had been going back and forward a little bit with Matchroom, and obviously the Getting fight was still on the cards. But as soon as that had fallen through, we were straight back on to Tom Dallas from Matchroom to see, you know, is that still a runner? And we went through it and kind of came to an agreement. And it's a really good positive silver lining for Graham, having had the disappointment of the fight falling through for his title. Um, but obviously, it's a huge platform for him to fight on. It's on probably the biggest domestic card in years. It's a huge grudge match. People talking about it all around the world. It's a serious undercard as well with 2 other Irish lads. Gary Cully fights
Paddy.
Pantera, and Paddy Donovan is on. And Paddy Donovan is trains out at the same gym as Graham week to week. Um, so it's really good for the two of them to be on the same bill. And obviously, as we know, Paddy is on. Paddy is on the skyrocket to superstardom. So for the two of them, two local boys from Limerick, to be able to share the same bill on such a big stage, it's great. And Graham is in brilliant form. He's really well in himself. He's training hard. He feels fresh, and he's really gone there to put on a performance. And we're under no illusions as to how difficult the task is going to be George Liddard.
Mm.
But George never faced anyone like Graham before. He hasn't gone 8 rounds before. Graham's he won't mind me saying he's a wily old veteran now at this stage. There's nothing that he hasn't seen. So we're really excited, looking forward to Graham putting on a big performance and hopefully giving Liddard a big test and hopefully beating him.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed. I mean, yeah. Just Graham likes a tear up, and I've seen Liddard in his last fight like a tear up, and of course Graham, he's sort of had almost sort of even the Gratty fight sort of four camps into one this fight, so it's not
Yeah,
like he hasn't been preparing for a fight.
yeah. And the Gratty one was just a strange one because it was supposed to be the getting fight. It was supposed to be for a title over 10 rounds for
That was
so
just a
long,
fight to stay active, sort of thing.
and it was, and he just, he wasn't up for it. It was really, he had a couple of disappointments.
Because when you're expecting to be boxing in for a bout and then fighting in a 4 rounder, it's a bit of a
Yeah,
momentum sort of sway sort of thing.
yeah, and I took a little bit of the blame for the 4 rounder. We should have just done six. Graham has a tendency that he can't start slow, and it was just one of those nights that Gratty was up for it. And we know that Gratty is a decent fighter.
Mm.
He's one of the better journeymen around. He came flying out of the box and he nicked the first couple of rounds, and then it was kind of like, okay, well, you better put the foot in the gas here, or you're going to be beaten. So Graham had to go and take the last two. In hindsight, the draw wasn't the end of the world. It hasn't, at this stage in his career, it hasn't really had a big impact on where he wants to go and the fights that he wants to accept. The getting fight was still on, and now look, it is what it is, and he's fighting on a huge undercard against a really bright prospect from Britain. So it didn't harm him too much, but obviously we would have liked him to have the win. And all it did was really light a fire under him. So he's put his heart and soul into this kind of uh, longer camp now that we've had the extra couple of weeks from getting through to the rearranged one through to this. But he's managed it well. His weight is on point. He feels fresh. He's flying. So, like, he's gonna go there and he's gonna upset. He's gonna show a lot of people that he does belong on that kind of stage. So,
And I think
um,
lots of people are going to be shocked this time well, yeah, a week today. Lots of people are going
yeah,
to be in for a bit of a surprise.
yeah.
Should
Like,
I
and
say
and,
that?
and that's and look, I'd say that's probably why Matchroom have come and said, Graham McCormack, that's a real good test for someone at the stage of George's career. You know, he's had 6 rounders, and he stopped his first three. He stepped up a little bit of a level journeyman in his next three. He actually shipped a round or two, I think, here and there. And you know, now this is where I suppose he'll know where he's at, because this is a fella he's fighting who's going to come and have a go, and has seen it all and has fought the likes of Paul Keane, has fought the likes of Fergus Quinn. You know, he's been in with proper lads. So this would be a good test for George, and hopefully Graham can start well, come on strong, and really show what it is that he's worked for, and where you can end up having been in a completely different place in life. I know he's spoken to you about it before. He was a different person a long time ago, and he's changed his life around, and here he is on the biggest stage. So it's brilliant for him.
Mm. It's almost what dreams are made of, sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's mad. It's just because even yesterday he was saying, we've 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 really arrived now on the biggest one. Like we came together a few years ago, and we said we'll give it a little go, have one last run at it, and here we are now, kind of fighting on what's a huge card with 4 title fights, Catterall Taylor, with Paddy Donovan, with Gary Cully, two of Ireland's absolute best. So it's brilliant for Graham, it's brilliant for his son Dylan, it's brilliant for Lauren and the kids, and it's brilliant for us as a team and as a stable just to be on this stage. So yeah, we're delighted.
100%, mate. Who should we talk about next? Should we talk about Rudaham Farrell? Of course, he picked up his BUI Celtic title against Conor Kerr. That was a cracking fight, wasn't it? That
Yeah,
one.
yeah, it was good scrap between the two lads, both of them under my management, so that wasn't easy. But
Is it hard for you, when you've got two of your own fighters fighting each other?
yeah, it's the first time that we've done it. Graham and Dom, actually, Dominic Donegan were supposed to fight before that a show that didn't go ahead.
What's
So that
happening
would have
with
been the first.
Dominic at the minute?
He's not with me anymore. He's with Jay Byrne, but I think he's going to fight Sean Murray, who fought on the warehouse bill. I think they're looking at being penciled in. That could be a 6 or an 8. I'm not really sure.
Mm.
But yeah, Rudy's going to probably most likely fight Jared Hughes in a rematch, and that's going to be most likely on August the 3rd, I think, in the SSE Arena in Belfast on the Conlon Boxing card. So they obviously fought 2 fights back, and in a 6-rounder. And I think I've said it a good few times, and we felt that Rudy won probably 4-2 or 5-1, and clearly won the fight. But it was given a draw, and since then Rudy's gone, and he's gone and won his title. He's beaten Conor Kerr, so he's going to defend that title most likely against Jared Hughes.
Is the Irish on the line as well, or no?
No, because Jared hasn't done 8. He's only done 6. And I think that between the time and the cost of him getting up to 8, just to fight the 10, we could just have a defense. Hopefully, all going well from our point of view. Rudy wins, and that'll set up the rematch then with Conor Kerr for the Irish. That's been mandated by the BUI off the back of, as you said, it was a cracking fight between the 2 lads the last time.
It was a fight of 2 halves, that one.
Yeah, it was mad. I had to watch it back a couple of times, and even the first time I watched it back, it was very hard to watch. It was only when I watched it for a second or third time back that I was able to actually calm down and analyze the fight, because when you've got 2 people who you're so fond of in there against each other, it's really difficult. Like, it's not something I would be happy to do again in a heartbeat, but the 2 boys have been mandated for a rematch, so I'm going to have to, So hopefully that will happen at the end of the year, all going well, and all going well as in Rudy beats Jared. Jared beats Rudy if he can somehow, reverse what we think is from the form from the drawn fight. Then it'll probably be Jared against Conor. But obviously,
will Conor be staying? Will Conor fight before that, or is he waiting?
Yeah, we're gonna get Conor out. There's been a couple of different offers. I won't say who they were, but I think they're more leaning towards getting back and having 6 rounds and getting a good win, and getting all of that full confidence back before he takes on the winner of Hughes and Farrell, and that'll be for the Irish title then when he fights the winner of them. But it's a great scene, down at super bantamweight.
Brandon Scott, who's on the Matchroom.
Yeah, and even from an Irish point of view, I've got 2 other lads, Miles Casey and Matty Bourne, who are both about to debut. Hopefully we'll get them out towards the end of June. Matty is potentially going to be on a decent sized show. Miles was actually due to debut on a Dave Westcraft show, only there was an issue with his MRA. Not that there was an issue with the MRA itself. When he had gone done the MRA, they actually never conducted the scan for the MRA, and it only came to light in fight week that he hadn't done it. So we got it done, but by the time we got it done, it was Thursday night, and it was too late for the board. So his debut had to be put back. But he's a former Irish Elite champion. Matty Borland is really exciting, and he was in the Ulster Elite final just last year. So between the 4 lads and then Paul Lunham, who made his debut on the JB show, he's supremely talented. I think he's going to probably end up at bantamweight. But all of a sudden, from having no super bantamweights in Ireland, we've got this whole thriving scene. So
exactly,
they're all going to probably go round and round with each other for a while. But Rudy has won his Celtic title. He's going to hopefully defend it against Jer. Then him and Conor will fight for the Irish, and then one of them goes on into more international waters, So yeah, we're really excited for all of
them. Yeah, exactly. Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie obviously had his defeat to Emmett Brennan on the Katie Taylor undercard.
Another banging fight, that one though.
Yeah, another good fight. And he just Emmett started fast, and Jamie got a very bad cut around the side of his head, and that really didn't help. But he came on strong in the middle rounds, and I think it probably just he paid a little bit of a price for it. And Emmett came back in round 7 and really poured it on Jamie. So he's back in training. He's back training really hard. He's been mixing and matching between his gym with Sean Kelly. He's actually going up a little bit with Niall Barrett once or twice a week. That's Gary Cully's trainer. So that's a really, really talented bunch that they have in that gym. Gary's there, Paul Lunham's there. They've got amateurs like Aidan Byrne and Kelsey Leonard who are really, really, really good. And you're going to hear an awful lot more of those probably later in the year. They're both going to Harringay. I would be putting money on that either or of them will probably end up being boxer of the tournament. They're both that good. But Jamie's been working a little bit up there. He's just been getting refreshed, and there is talk, and I know everybody's kind of been seeing what's been put out from the Conlon side of thing, and Kevin Cronin, that there's going to be a big homecoming show for Cronin, and the one they want is Jamie Marcy for the trilogy for the Irish title. So we're up for it. I think they're up for it, and we'll get Jamie out. In the meantime, probably next month, we'll get him out quickly, quietly, or whatever we'll do.
Get him
He'll
on
have
one of
6
your
rounds.
shows, or
I haven't been putting on show. I've only ever put on. I did one show with Mark Dunlop. I co-promoted it, but there's plenty out there. So I know.
so you're more of a manager, would you say, than a promoter?
Yeah, I'm more of a manager. Yeah. So that's looking like it's going to be early August. So I'll get him out somewhere probably in June. Just in much calmer waters. Work on a few of the things that he's been working on, and that'll set them up hopefully for a trilogy fight. And like they've been two absolutely unbelievable fights. There was the one that Jamie won by 1 point for the Celtic. Then there was the drawn fight for the Irish title. That there was controversy, there was ups and downs, and
Will both belts be on the line, or just see what happens?
I think it'll just be the Irish. It'll be 10 rounds.
What's ranked higher, the Celtic or the Irish?
The Irish is ranked heavier, and I think the Irish gets you some sort of ranking in the EBU in European level. So the Irish is obviously the one, and the Irish is the one that everybody wants. It's the national title. It's probably the equivalent of the way just the English and the Welsh and the Scottish, and they're kind of more near almost area level. The British title is more of the Irish compared to those ones. The Celtic is the gateway title to get to Irish level, and the Irish is always over 10 rounds.
So the Celtic's sort of like the English sort of belt.
It would be in and around that, yeah. It's probably be somewhere between the English and the Irish. I think the English is probably just a tiny little bit lower, because the Celtic has Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and a few of those Basque regions. I think there's and a few of those islands. So there's a little bit more of a pool that you can choose from on the Celtic. But it's an 8-round fight as opposed to a 10-round fight for the Irish. So the Irish is the one that carries. That's all. It's like in football terms. When you're a kid, you don't dream of scoring the winner in the Carabao Cup final. You dream of scoring the winner in the FA Cup final. That way. It's just that little bit. It's that little bit more progression on. So that's where the lads. I think everybody wants that fight. I think everybody in Irish boxing. Wants to see
as
that
a
fight
fan's point of view, I've watched the first 2 fights, and it was hard to split both of them. I think it was a point either way on both fights, so it was really close, both fights, and it wouldn't have shocked me if either of the fights went either way. But I'd like to see that, and that would be a good well, I was going to say rematch, but trilogy. I do like a trilogy.
Yeah, that's it. So trilogy, and I don't even know if Irish boxing's had proper trilogy before. I'm sure someone will probably come into the comments and say, "Oh yeah, they fought 3 times for something," but not in recent history. So this will bring big attention. It looks like it's going to be a fantastic show. It's still in the works, but what I'm hearing and what the plans are means it has huge potential. So we're game. We'll talk money and all that kind of stuff. We'll get them out, but it's something that we're interested in.
Yeah. There was somebody else that you mentioned beforehand, but I forgot. Peter Carr, was it?
Oh yeah, Peter Carr. Peter Carr has he just moved to 2-0. He beat Gratty last week. Beat him well, dominated the fight, won every round, showed that he has serious power. And Gratty kind of didn't really want to get too heavily involved. So he's been back in the gym. He went straight back into the gym with Phil Sutcliffe, the legendary Phil Sutcliffe, on Monday morning in Crumlin Boxing Club. And he's just going to really work now. He wants all the smoke from the domestic lads. Sean Murray beat Shane Meehan. Sean Murray might fight Dominic, but Peter will be there. Certainly after one more fight, he'll step up into that.
Try and get in that mix with Dominic Donegan and...
Yeah, Sean Murray, all of those lads, they're all in and around that kind of prospect level. Dominic is much more established, but if Dominic beats Sean and Peter gets himself up maybe into 6 rounds, Peter's more than happy to go and fight Dom, So whoever wins that fight, Peter will be there waiting for them. But, he's a serious talent. He's got mad power, and he's really started to get the bug now to actually work on his craft. He always worked really hard. Now it's almost like he hasn't left Crumlin Boxing Club since the fight. And there's been talk of Conor McGregor looking to do a bit of sparring with him and that kind of stuff, because Peter's
Wow.
a former kickboxing world champion. So that would be great for his profile. That'd be great for his, just for everything.
And rises
Um,
his stock a bit.
that's it. Yeah. So yeah, he's one I'm really really excited about. I can't wait to see him back in the ring again. There's a few I mentioned: Miles Casey and Matty Borland. Keane Reddy has turned over, and I was absolutely delighted to have gotten a signature, because he's he just so talented, and he's a great guy. He won the Celtic Box Cup for just recently. It's the second time winner. He's been on numerous internationals. You know, he's a proper elite level amateur, and he's got the world at his feet. He's going to be training in Unit 3 in the same gym as I said before, with Cully and them. He's training under Arias Viltepas, who himself is a genius of a trainer. He's learned everything he knows from Niall Barrett. It's like they just think the same way. And him and Keane have already got on really well. And Wayne Woods is part of the team as well. Wayne, who is heavily involved with the likes of Callum Simpson over in Leeds. Wayne is a good family friend of Keane's. Keane travels over and back between Leeds and Kildare over this side of the water. And Wayne just knows everything there is to know about boxing, And all of his amateurs come through as almost like professionals, and they're ready-made to go. So he's been kind of just working an awful lot with Keane on the professional side of things, working on the inside. And the same with Arias. They've already, as I said, they've already established a brilliant bond. Arias is just sensational on the pads. He's got a great boxing brain, and he's going to be acting as second in Gary Cully's fight next week in Leeds. So it's a really exciting time for him and for Matty and for Miles and for all the team. Like, Irish boxing is kind of booming again at the moment, and we've kind of built relationships with some of the bigger promoters, as you see, like the lads have been fighting on Conlon boxing bills, and Jamie's fought on the Matchroom bill. Graham's going to fight now on the Taylor Catterall undercard. So like, everything is going pretty much according to plan, and we just picked up our title last week with David. So yeah, confidence is pretty high.
And hopefully more belts to come, mate.
Yeah, big time.
And is there anyone else you want to give a quick mention before I end it?
Yeah, the likes of James Freeman, who's coming back off. He had a great start to his career.
Wasn't he on the Michael Conlon Lopez?
He was, yeah, and he actually broke his hand, and then the hand has come back again. So he's been working like a demon in the gym, but he's only now getting back to kind of the punching side of things, and he's getting married. So we'll see him at the end of the summer. So yeah, look, he would have been on that probably would have been on that SSE bill that's going to happen on August the 3rd, with Tyrone McKenna and maybe Paddy McCrory versus Luke Keeler and Rudy against Jer. James would have been on that, only he's getting married, I think, at the end of June, and he's going to be away for a couple of weeks on his honeymoon, so it didn't work. But he'll be back soon, and he's really exciting, So there's Caitlin Phelan as well, who's part of the team. It's just been a stalled return. She was due to return on one of the JB shows. She got a niggle in her neck and set her back a couple of weeks, and then she was actually due to be on the cancelled show. So she's she's a WBC youth world champion, and she's one other organizational world champion. So she's obviously one that I've always been really excited about. So I can't wait to see her back as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like all the lads, Alan White is operating as a journeyman. He's doing brilliant. Everybody loves him. He gives all these prospects a brilliant test.
Yeah.
And he's a great guy, and huge shout out to him, because he's the only one in Ireland who's doing it. And I will have another one coming through, a fella called Jacob Marar. He's got his license. He's going to operate on the road, probably in the UK. But he's another talented fighter who he'll do the job and give these prospects a great test. So yeah, everything is good. I don't think I've left anybody out. If I have, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you've got a big stable, mate.
Yeah,
So I mean, you must be very busy, mate. So from me, mate, thank you for your time, and good luck with Graham next week, and just keep smashing it with your fighters, mate. All the best.
Thanks a million, Sam. Cheers.
Bye.
Good luck.